Mr. Timothy Chalamet,
Yes.
how are you, buddy?
I'm good. Thank you for having me again.
Actor, singer, college football enthusiast, a man of many talents.
You're missing like 7, but
Yeah, what do you want to add to the resume?
they will reveal themselves over time. Last time we talked, we were like in an obscure conference room.
What was your most played artist?
My most played artist this year might have been Bob Dylan, not to be on cue, but actually,
now we're in the world.
Now we're in the Four Seasons retrofitted as a, but they honestly did a pretty good job.
Is this what your brain looked like for a year or 5 years?
Guys, it's Bob Dylan.
Once upon a time, you're just so fine.
They just want me singing "Blowing in the Wind" for the rest of my goddamn life.
Then you.
Well, this is gonna piss some people off.
No, it was great to be in this period. This is, I was thinking about it this morning with these Golden Globe nominations for Dune and A Complete Unknown, that they would, seem to have little in common, but really it's the birthing ground of the 1960s and how fertile they were that actually let me work on both of these same things some 67 years later. Obviously, Dylan was on the East Coast working in Greenwich Village, and Frank Herbert was off on the West Coast in front of a typewriter, coming up with this fantastic world.
Are the Dylan panic dreams different than the Wonka panic dreams, the Dune panic dreams, the dreams you have of like, oh, what if I f this up? What if I mess this one up?
Yes and no. I mean, had we shot this when we were supposed to shoot it in 2020, when I thought it was to my advantage that I didn't have the DNA understanding of why Bob Dylan's considered the fantastic, incredible artist he is. Sort of like when I worked on The King, and I felt like because I didn't grow up in England, Henry V wasn't part of my worldview, for lack of a better expression. By the time we got to shooting this, I was in deep reverence to the figure, but I was confident. Maybe I'm not supposed to say that, but I was really confident, and I felt like it was a relief because I'd been working on it for so long.
We've talked a lot over the years about different actors you admire, and I know it's not necessarily helpful to look at other performances of someone you're playing, but I'm curious, like Heath Ledger played a version of Dylan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you ever think about that? I assume you've seen that top
I've seen it. I saw it probably 3 months out from shooting, from our initial shoot date of July 2023, I guess. Because this movie's come out pretty quickly because we just shot it this summer. There are many masterful interpretations in that movie.
Yeah.
He's obviously one of the actors that has shaped my worldview and my artistry the most. And a lot of actors my generation put Heath Ledger on that Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
So it's to no surprise that he also is in this world of Bob Dylan, or interpreting him.
I'm sure you're fully aware that like there's going to be a significant amount of young people that maybe know who Bob Dylan is, but they're going to discover Bob Dylan through the vessel that is Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, that's the hope, and it's a really humble hope. And I want our cast and all of us in this film to be a sort of humble gateway to Bob Dylan. I think we did a great job. That's a subjective opinion. And hopefully it's a diving point into this world and culture and music that keeps giving to me and keeps revealing itself to me, like Time Out of Mind, which is an album I've gotten into recently that I hadn't gotten into before. And if there's a world where the movie is unsatisfying to someone, but it's still a gateway to this music, still 100% mission accomplished.
I don't think that situation's going to happen.
I think it will. I think, everyone, like Murphy's Law of Reactions, every reaction will be had, to some extent.
10th anniversary
Yeah.
of Interstellar on your mind?
That was a little, that was a little slip. No, but
Easter
I
egg.
can't wait for that to be in IMAX again, by the way. But no, I really mean it. I really mean it. If we can be like a little humble asterisk on the legacy of, or on the artist that is Bob Dylan, we did a good job.
Do you dabble with like writing music? Have you explored that side of you?
I can't say in a serious way, but what is serious music writing? I don't know.
Talk to me a little bit about, I mean, there's so many different themes here that resonate with me, and I'm sure with you, and will resonate with the audience. Like, so this captures a moment in time where, for instance, among other things, Bob became super famous and rejected that fame and realized that that was not something that you felt comfortable with. And
Right.
I don't know, does that resonate with you? I mean, I've watched you in real time go through this.
Yeah.
And you've had to wrestle with that and deal with the positives and the complications that come with fame. Was that something that was on your mind that you connected with it on any level?
Not consciously, because I've gotten that question before, and it's the honest answer. It would be like very dehumanizing to be like, yeah, that was the entry point of the character for me. And honestly, it wasn't. The challenges. How'd you put it? The complications of how you said it. The complications, it kind of goes without saying. It's not very like intellectual. It's just like the weird that comes with it. not in any sort of like groundbreakingly interesting way.
But there are lines that resonate with me. Like there's the talk when he's at the party and he talks leaving the party, how like there are 200 people in there and they all wanted like a different version of me. They all wanted that.
200 people in that room, and each one wants me to be somebody else. And they should just let me be.
Let you be what?
Whatever it is they don't want me to be.
When you walk into rooms, people want something out of you.
Yeah, I guess yes and no. I mean, in the context of the movie and the scene you're describing, a very specific community, folk community at that time, where in the scene he's in the donor class of the folk community.
Right.
It's like the donors of a student protest movement. So he's literally in the sort of self-congratulating political donor environment that any young, genuinely great artist would reflexively be sort of feel icky towards.
Right.
You know, it's so different now, like culture. So yeah, it's a really hard parallel to draw. I get wanting to draw it as far as like to my life or to the time, but true to me visiting, you know, Hibbing or Duluth or Minneapolis before the movie started. Minneapolis, where I was 3 days ago, it's just one of my favorite parts of the country, truly, because the people are just so wonderful out there. It's just so different. You know, when I visited Duluth and Hibbing, this is not the Duluth and Hibbing of 1958 or 61 when Bob would have been growing up there. It's a different setting. So equally, the things you wrestle with now are much different than what you would have wrestled with then. So, because culture was different. You know, in many ways, Bob had no archetype to follow through with. There's been an archetype for me. You know, media and how it's presented is changing, but the archetype still exists for me. Bob, in many ways, was the first of. You could draw a line to, you know, punk rock from Bob at the 1965 Newport Festival, even if the music wasn't punk rock, but the expression of it sort of was.
Also the impulse to reject expectation and to connect with your own artistic impulse.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's something that any actor worth their salt, I feel like, goes through.
Yeah, or if you have the opportunity to, because, you know, like...
99% of the actors, you gotta take what you gotta.
Unfortunately, unfortunately. But, you know, someone I was talking about with Jeff Rosen, he said, I didn't say, but he said it would almost be harder to do what Bob did then now, in the sense that now, you know, your active rebellion, your music, your art, whatever it be, it's as much about what you're doing as it is about the response to the Coliseum. That is to say, think of like something you like, you see online, or you dislike online. What is the first thing we do is we like look at the comments. We see like what the Coliseum's reaction is. So it's different, you know. Not only as an artist did you not have to subject yourself to what that narrative would be, but there wasn't a consensus, you know. So now it's really as much about, think about it, right? Like if you're scrolling or whatever, if something affects you a certain way, you want to see what those, right? I mean, you do that, right? Of course. Yeah. I thought that was fascinating. I was talking about that with Jeff. He made the point. And it just got me thinking, you know, Bob Dylan once said they can kill you with kindness too. And I think it's an important thing to look at, because God forbid you get the Coliseum's approval. What incentive is there to change, you know? But then did you get into a really wacky line of life and work to treat it like a routine, you know? Because then you've chosen the weirdest day job ever, no matter how much you get paid or what acclaim comes. And that was a big shining light for me through the movie, through the process of working on it and now putting it out. Even when Jeff Rosen said that to me, and he said, you know, harder now than it would have been then, but, you know, there's a lot of things, I guess, that are easier now, too, so.
There's also, though, then, like, the validation, though, of peers and folks that you admire. And, like, in the film, obviously, Johnny Cash.
I'm not sure they want to hear what I want to play, Johnny.
I want to hear it.
That kind of validation, it seems like, is meaningful for Bob.
Yeah, and definitely they had a correspondence in real life, too, and Johnny Cash was like a big brother in a lot of ways.
Has there been someone that's validation has meant something to you?
Well, this Bob Dylan post the other day, this tweet where he said...
That's a moment.
Yeah, that was absolutely a moment, because affirmation is the word. And you should never rest on your laurels as an artist, if I could say that, if I'm in any position to say that. And yet, if you have a moment where someone validates what is your life's work, it's especially coming from someone like him who really doesn't speak much, you know.
No one's going to force Bob Dylan to say anything he doesn't want to say.
I don't think anybody could, you know, unless somebody hacked his account, in which case the post will get deleted. But
how did you react when you saw that pop up?
I was floored. Like I said, I was just like, couldn't believe it. And nothing will, not that I was like searching for affirmation, but nothing will affirm the experience I had more than that.
I've been talking a lot this year to a lot of young actors who have worked with someone important to you, Luca Guadagnino. I'm curious, I don't know if you've seen both Queer and Challengers.
I saw Challengers. I didn't get to see Queer yet. Yeah.
you-
I saw an early edit of Queer because I was staying with Luca
Oh,
2
nice.
summers ago, and I knew I was like, this is going to be fantastic, you know?
What's it like to see fellow new actors kind of on the scene, whether it's the Mike Feist, the Josh O'Connells, the Drew Starkeys? Are you
Yeah.
impressed by kind of like...
Man, I don't think they're new actors. I mean, I think they've all delivered
They have, that's
amazing work in the past.
They're getting, I guess, a moment in the sun.
Yeah.
Deservedly so.
Yeah, absolutely. And but that's what Luca does. I mean, that's what he did with my, like gave me the opportunity of a lifetime. And it's Luca's boldness as a filmmaker and he's got an incredible eye for casting. You know, he just won't let himself be backed into Luca makes his own decisions. You know.
Obvious casting, he's going to
Yeah.
seek out what's
Yeah.
really fresh and cool.
Yeah.
When we spoke for Wonka, I asked you what was the top of like the Spotify list, what you were listening to. No
Right.
surprise, it was Dylan.
Right. Yeah.
End of 2024, still
Love
Dylan?
Challengers too, by the way. I didn't get to say that, but I love Challengers too, by the way.
Obsessed.
Yeah.
Obsessed of the year.
Yeah.
What have you been listening to this
Well,
past
probably
year?
that Challenger score soundtrack. No, a lot of Dylan, man. I worked on Dylan this year, you know, so that's definitely at the top of my list.
You're probably at the top of some people's Spotify list, thanks to the Wonka.
I was,
and
in
the Dylan.
Minnesota. I saw that we were in Minnesota for a Complete Unknown, and some folks were showing, someone showed me Pure Imagination was at the top of their Spotify. I thought I was really honored because there's a lot of versions of that song. So yeah, I was stoked.
Who's an artist we're talking about now that's going to deserve a biopic in 40 to 50 years?
That's a great question. I couldn't tell you.
Then when you were obsessed with, you're like, that feels like worthy of exploration of their art and work?
Well, it's hard to know. You know, one of the things that makes Bob Dylan in this period so ripe for exploring is how guarded he's been the rest of his life. So the people that are tantalizing now, you know,
We don't know what we don't know right now is basically...
I guess what I'm trying to say, but also that he's remained this elusive figure, you know, where not that a biopic is worthy, because when can you ever really say a biopic is worthy, but there's a finite amount of Bob Dylan material online.
Yeah.
If I haven't come close to,
Pretty much.
right, and one would think in an era where everything's like filmed and chronicled, it'll be,
Yeah. What mystery is possibly left?
yeah, sort of.
So your equivalent of going electric is playing ping pong, I take it, recently.
I'm not gonna say anything about that. Oh, you know what? Because I'm dying to, because I finished 4 days ago, but I'm just not gonna let myself because.
Yeah, you don't have
Yeah.
to. You don't have
Yeah.
to. Here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to thank you because about a year ago, I asked you kind of what's coming up, and you
Yeah.
said ping pong,
Yeah.
and me and the world was like, what's Timmy talking about?
Right.
Give me a hint. Give me something.
Well, I've said it's ping pong. I could say that.
Seriously?
Yeah.
It's the Balls of Fury reboot? What are we doing?
No. Something way different. Way different.
Thank you for that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you want to continue that as a tradition? You want to drop any hints about the future with one random word?
I got nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah. I do have some, but I got nothing for you.
One word.
Can't.
But you've kept the mustache. So now we know that are you willing this into fashionable existence, the Timothy Chalamet?
No, I got to go back to, I'm basically done with the film, but I'm not totally done, so I actually can't lose this yet.
Got it. Are you enjoying the mustache? Or are people in your life enjoying the mustache?
If they're being honest with me, yes, but
Okay.
who knows?
Seems like you have hesitation. You feel like you don't believe your friends and family.
I do.
In the spirit of keeping things fresh, you're going to have to keep some sequels fresh in the future. At some point, you're going to do, I think, another Wonka. We hope another Dune. Is that on your mind of kind of like, what's wrong?
Look how unreadable my face is.
You think you're unreadable. I see it all.
Right.
I see right through you.
My heart on my sleeve.
But is that something, I mean, like connecting it to Bob, who always had to keep things fresh and continues to, is that on your mind of like, you obviously did it in Dune Part 2. You were able to kind of like explore a lot of new aspects of the character. But as you're part of these kind of franchises going forward, maintaining your artistic creativity, even things that are within the franchise framework.
I think in both those things that you outlined, should there ever be,
Okay, thank you for qualifying.
like you just said, I feel like Dune Part 2 is a real departure from Dune Part 1.
Yeah.
That's a testament, perhaps more obviously to Denis than anything I'm doing in it, though I'm also very proud of the work I do in it. I'm just looking to lead with him. But
Let's start with me.
yeah, right. But I think I'll, especially with something like Dune Part 2, it builds on these books exist,
There's fertile ground if and when the opportunity comes.
Yeah.
Denis not going to do anything that's
Exactly. I don't think anybody could get him to do anything he didn't want to do,
I do want to mention, because I know the Nolan experience in Interstellar comes up a lot in our
Yeah.
conversations,
Oh, yeah.
because I know that was like a huge...
Yeah, it was super formative to me. It's still my favorite films.
I've heard you say that it
Yeah.
remains like
Yeah, I'm not trying to be disparaging or anything else I've been in, but perhaps because I saw it, because I was in it at such a formative time in my life. But also, it's just a damn good movie.
Ready for a bigger bite at the Nolan apple? At some point, he has to put you front. And
Yeah,
center.
I would love to. I would love it. And I'm already great, sort of like with Bob Dylan. Nolan's given me the gift already. He put me in a movie. I would love it, and I couldn't ask for more from him. And it's like with Bob Dylan, like people say, do you want to meet him? And just that post on X, which was already way more than I could have ever imagined, is so affirming, like we were saying before. So, any idea more than that? Edward Norton talks about that beautifully.
Congratulations, man. Degree of difficulty on this is off the charts.
Thank you.
And
Are you a Dylan fan?
I am. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a casual Dylan. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but no, truly, what you've done here, it's
I appreciate it, Josh.
extraordinary.
I appreciate it, man. I love talking to you.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you.
All right.